Guten Morgen. So, noch ein Video für Deutsch 2. This time, the topic is going to be a verb kicker. I'd kick my foot up in the air, but I'm sitting down. That would be hard to do. I can't get the camera right if I don't sit down. So, we've got this then, okay? As you recall, we've had a lot of verb kickers, actually. We've had das, right? We've had weil. Okay, so and you remember that when that happens, you take your little claw comes in and takes the verb out of the second position and throws it at the end. Okay, so wenn does the same thing. So wenn is an interesting word in German. It can mean a lot of things. It can mean if, and it can mean when. So usually, actually, in this chapter, it's going to mostly mean when. And later on, if we haven't done it already, I looked it up and I can't find it. But there's a whole lesson that I do on als, wenn, and wann, because they all equal when in English, and they all are used in very specific positionings. And most people do them wrong. Most people use this when. Because when you're in German 1, you learn the question word when, like when is class, or when are we going, or when do you have homework? And that's always going to be wann. But really, wann is only used when it's a question, either a direct or an indirect question, like, I don't know, when the movie starts kind of thing. But that's really the only time you're going to use wann. And most everybody always uses wann when they're not supposed to. So I'm not going to teach that lesson today. What I do want you to know is wenn means when if it's not a question. Okay, so when I get up in the morning, I have breakfast. That was going to be wenn. When I drive a car, I wear my seatbelt. That's going to be wenn. When I call my mom, I use my cell phone. That's going to be wenn. Okay, so for most cases here, it's going to be wenn. It's going to mean when, and it is a verb kicker. Okay, so you can either start the sentence with it, and then the next word is going to be the verb, or you can have the main clause and the wenn come. So let's do that with when I call my mom, I use my cell phone. Okay, so I use my cell phone. Ich benutze mein Handy, comma. Now it's the when. Okay. Now remember the way I taught you to do this. If this is hard to remember to do it, you're going to say, okay, so what is the when clause? When I call my mom. So let's just do I call my mom. Ich rufe meine Mutter an. That's the sentence. Now, you have the wenn before that. Your claw is going to come down here, bring this verb, conjugated verb, to the end and reattach to the prefix. Wenn ich meine Mutter anrufe. Okay? Piece of cake. Now, if you want to turn it around, you can say, wenn ich meine Mutter anrufe, comma. Now this whole thing is considered the first position in the sentence. So V2 says we have to put this verb next. Benutze ich mein Handy. Okay? So you can do it, these sentences you can do any way you want. They mean exactly the same thing. Whether you start with the wenn clause and then have this one, or whether you start with the other clause and then have the wenn clause, it doesn't matter. But the word placement really does change. Okay, so what I suggest you do is you practice these a little bit. Ideally, you'll have a bigger. My board should be longer, and then what you can do is you can have the columns. Remember. So let's say your next sentence is when I get up, or when I When I listen to music, when I listen to music, I'm happy. Okay? So, wenn ich Musik höre, wie to bin ich glücklich. Okay? Oops. So that, you know, if you draw the columns and they help you and you do a bunch of examples this way, then you want to do the examples with the other ones where the column would be here, and then after the wenn, the column would be at the very end in front of the period. Then you'd say, ich bin glücklich, wenn ich Musik höre. Make sense? So you need to practice this a little bit. I'll put this in the assignment, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you write sentences using the colored boxes on page 227 in your book, and you need to do them both ways. You need to write them starting with the wenn clause, and then the next idea, and then the next idea and the wenn clause. So, for example, ich gehe ins Kino is one of them, and then das Wetter ist schlecht is the other. So you would go to the movies when the weather is bad, right? You wouldn't say the weather is bad when I go to the movies. That's not the cause and effect thing here, right? So you can say, wenn das Wetter schlecht ist, gehe ich ins Kino, right? Or start with the Kino. Ich gehe ins Kino, wenn das Wetter schlecht ist. Okay? So there are 6 examples here. I want you to do 3 of them, but both ways. Okay? If you want to, it would be better for you to practice to do all 6 both ways. That's 12 sentences. I don't know. Is that too many? Ideally, you would do that many, but I will only assign half of that. So you need to first of all figure out which sentences make sense. So you don't say, like I just said, this example would not work if you say, when I go to the movies, the weather is bad. That doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. Your sentence has to make sense. So you need to figure out which piece in the orange box goes with which piece in the yellow box. Figure that out first, and then figure out, starting with the wenn, whichever is the wenn clause, start it with that, and then the next one, and then take that sentence and switch it around and start with the second part, so that becomes the first part, and then the wenn clause. I hope that's clear. I will put this example in the instructions so you can follow that, and you can always come back and watch the video some more. Okay? All right. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you all on Monday. Tschüss.